Good morning, everyone, or good day wherever you are. I'm Rick Zanotti,
Yeah,
and next to me, as always, is Gina Schreck. Hey, Gina, how are you?
I'm doing great because I finally have an iPad again.
Yes,
I went
me too.
a whole week with no iPad when mine was stolen from the plane, or I'm saying stolen now because it has not been retrieved, but I did leave it in the seat
May
pocket
have been thrown out for all you know.
of the airplane. I know. Well, the good thing is it still does not show that it has ever been turned on.
Hmm.
So we'll talk about that important app that everyone must put on their iOS devices. You need it because you can wipe your data from a remote location. You can feel at least safe that your data is secure, even if
Right.
your iPad is gone. Um, but Rick, I don't know, since you pre-ordered yours like I did, I got mine engraved. Did you?
I did not.
I love that.
Do
I
you?
think it's cool. It
It's a
says,
very small little engraving, right?
oh, it's super tiny. I don't even know if you can see that. It says "Getting Geeky with Gina Schreck."
Oh, funny. No, it's hard to see. It's right at the bottom, right?
No, do you see it at the
Oh,
top?
it's at the top. No, I don't see it. But then that could be my screen. I'm looking at a smaller screen.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
I
says
do see
"Getting
it.
Geeky
Yep.
with Gina Schreck." Although I do like that because if it is lost, at least there's something on here that's permanent. I guess somebody could scratch it off, but
Now, the only one reason I didn't engrave it, and it may or may not make a difference, if I ever wanted to sell it, they said you shouldn't have a name on it unless you're somebody,
good point.
you're pretty famous. So, hey, somebody
Well,
would buy it.
yeah, I could actually ask for more money
You could.
on the
You could.
iPad.
This is a getting geeky iPad.
Yeah, exactly. It could be worth more because it has my name on it. Yeah, that's a good point. My kids probably won't want it as much. See, I have so many kids. I'm like old Mother Hubbard that I always have beggars begging for my hand-me-downs.
Well,
And
actually,
sadly, because I lost my iPad 2, that's one less hand-me-down.
that's funny. We're in the same boat. My iPad 1 went to our son in law, iPad 2 went to wife, and now I've got the 3. So,
Yeah.
so far,
Well,
there's
and
been.
it's interesting because Kirk, my husband, has the iPad 1. He never did go to iPad 2. He's perfectly happy with his iPad 1. And I thought, oh, I'll give him the iPad 2. He never takes pictures, even with his phone. But I thought in case he ever wanted the camera feature on there. But, not to be. Not to be because that one is gone. US Airways, sad. I'm gonna have to write a song like United Breaks Guitars. I'm gonna have to write a song called "U.S. Airways Doesn't Return Lost Items."
No, you
Um,
know what? It's usually. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the cleaning crews and they just, or it might have been another passenger who just happened to notice it. You never
well,
know.
no, because the plane was empty for 1 hour.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, the plane was sitting in. It landed from
Now,
Denver to Phoenix,
there
and
is
it
a
had a
remote
layover for
possibility.
one
If
hour before it took off for
now,
Ontario. And we called there like 10 minutes after we got off the plane. And so it's definitely had to be the cleaning crew, or it's still sitting somewhere in their lost and found. But
it could still be sitting in the seat. Nobody's actually picked it up. You never know.
yeah, it's possible.
I doubt it, but you never know because usually when you report it, they go check. But
Yeah,
you
I
know, they
mean
do a
that is
really
true
cool.
because it's so thin. It does fit right there with the
Well,
magazines.
sadly,
But
when you report it, they probably go, "Oh, let's see. Oh, here it is. Cool. I got an iPad."
yeah, wow, this flight has iPads on it.
Actually, it is sort of sad that it does speak to the greedy nature of certain people who just feel that, hey, cool, I got something for free.
Well, and here's the thing. Mine had the big sticker. It had the skin on it, so it had an identifiable marker that when I called in, but you could not turn it on because I had the lock on it. Which I'm telling you, if people are carrying around their smartphones or these tablets with any data whatsoever on them, you need to have a lock on the screen. And I now I'm on a mission to tell everyone, I don't care if it's inconvenient for you, you need to have a lock, whether it's the simple connect the dots lock that you can put on those, or whether it is the iPad, you can put in a 4-digit like PIN number so that no one can open your screen without that PIN. Now, I did go into the Apple store and ask them. I said, I have the app I have it on all my devices. Find my iPhone. It's a free app. Find my iPhone. Make sure you load that onto your MacBooks. If you have a laptop, make sure you load it on your iPhone. Make sure you load it on your iPads. It's just called Find My iPhone is the app. And I told the guy in the Apple store, I have that app on my phone. I mean, on my iPad, which means when it's gone, I can log in from any computer to the iCloud and I can go into that app and say, wipe the data from my device. I can also say, when it is turned on, send an alarm sound and a message on the screen that says, this device is being tracked. Please call this phone number or email. So I had all of that. However, the person could not get past, they would first have to get past my 4-digit PIN to even turn it on.
Well, first of all, that won't work if your Wi-Fi's off or if you're not.
Right.
So it's only going to work as long as you have battery or you're in a Wi-Fi or other.
Right.
Or I guess.
And that's what they said. They said it has to be, the person has to first be able to turn the device on, which you could not even get past the screen, the lock screen, without my 4-digit code. And then you can, once you get past that, you would have to be somewhere where there's Wi-Fi. Okay, so then I asked, couldn't a person do a complete factory reset on the device? So if you found somebody's iPad,
Mm-hmm.
you just wipe everything, and now it's yours. He said only a real, someone who's really trying to get in, because even to do a factory reset, somehow you have to enter in your code.
Right.
So he said that whoever did have it, assuming it was just an average person that found it, they're going to be frustrated, and I don't know what they would do with it. Would they try and sell it? Would they?
I bet you half of them
it?
would just throw it away.
Yeah, or throw it away. So the learning lesson, and it's sad to lose anything that you paid $500 or $600 for.
Right.
But I had total peace of mind when I lost that, because I knew the data was, and that was my only concern. Gosh, I've got data on there. I mean, I had credit card info and stuff in different apps that somebody could find that. So I felt good that I was able to wipe the data off. And so that Find My iPhone app, you need to load that on anybody who has an iPad.
In fact, you probably didn't have airplane mode turned off, right?
No.
No.
I didn't have it. Was not in airplane mode. It was just in normal Wi-Fi mode.
Okay.
Yeah, so, lesson learned is, I don't know. Really, the lesson learned is don't take 5:30 a.m. flights. That's the true lesson in that
Actually,
one.
the better lesson learned is don't put your iPad in the seat pocket in front of you where you can't see
that's
it.
That's what's weird. I never put anything in there because I'm a germaphobe and I always picture nasty stuff in the seat back pocket. So I was holding my iPad in my lap and I was really tired because it was 5:30 in the morning. And I pulled an all-nighter. I didn't go to sleep the night before. I had a bunch of work to do. I knew we were leaving the house at 3 a.m., so I thought I'm just staying awake. So I'm sitting in my seat, really tired, with my iPad in my lap. A woman comes to sit in the middle seat, so I had to get up, and she was almost spilling her coffee. And I didn't want to set my iPad down in the seat. I said, do you want me to hold your coffee? I slipped my iPad in the seat back pocket to let her in. I sat down and passed out. I was so tired.
Yeah.
So, that's the story, and it's one of those things you go.
So the real moral of the story is never take an early morning flight.
Never take an early morning flight. Second moral is make sure you have passcode locks on all your devices. My Android phone has a lock on it, and it's a hassle. I hate when I have to answer the phone. I have to enter but you know what? My data is safe.
You know what you should do? Put a clip on your iPad, just a little clip on the top, attach it to a rope that's attached to you somewhere.
You know what? I need a big giant fanny pack. Although for my friends in Australia, I know that is a very vulgar term in Australia. So they call it a bum bag. A bum bag I need for my iPad because I'm never without it now. I carry it everywhere. So. And Rick, you got yours. We both got iPads. So the first question I want to find out from you, and you share with the audience, did you get a bigger storage? Did you get more memory or the same?
I did. I went for the 64 gig. I've had the iPad 1 and 2, and this time I said, I want a little more space because I did almost fill up on the 2 at one point. I had to delete about half the stuff I had on it. And so I said, I want a little bit more space. I want to make sure that if I do any video editing, if I do more photo processing, just to test it out. And video is pretty big, or it can get big.
Right.
I just wanted more space, and I figured, oh, what the heck. And so I got it, and I love the new one. The screen is a lot better. I don't know if you could tell. I'm going to just bring up the screen here. It's really hard to tell on this because we're compressed, oops, especially when I hit buttons.
I was gonna say now I
But
see a white
you
screen.
really can't
Oh,
tell.
there we
If
go.
I get closer, maybe. It is extremely sharp with the Retina display. I did notice a big difference with it.
And I
And
told you, I felt like it was the Emperor's New Clothes. That I looked at mine and thought, I truly, when I opened it, it was as if somebody returned my iPad 2. I couldn't tell that it was a little thicker. I couldn't tell that the Retina display was sharper. I mean, yes, if you look at it, you're going, this actually is sharper. But if you have an iPad 2, it's not that it's the only thing so far that I've noticed. There's a couple apps that are newer, but the only thing I've noticed, the camera.
camera's a lot better.
Awesome pictures on the
It
camera.
has
Yeah.
multiple lenses. I think it can do zooming. It can do some other stuff that it's really clean.
Very sharp. I mean,
Five
again, it went
megapixel
from one
camera
megapixel to five,
to five.
so
That's a big
it's a big
difference.
difference on the camera.
And also another thing different because now they do have the Retina display. You've got over 3 million pixels on your screen. You can now actually see a full size image of what you're filming,
Right.
which is
Right.
pretty amazing. I still
Yeah.
don't consider the iPad a video device. You can, but just the form factor. You've got to be so stable
And
to
it's
get that
funny.
to move
It's funny
because
you say that
it's
because
very
this morning
light.
I thought I'm going to do a quick video just to test out iMovie, which has some new upgrades to iMovie, and and that is why I got the 64 gig. I've always had the 32, and I've never filled it. I mean, I had 250 apps on mine. I had I think over 1,800 photos on mine. I had very few videos, and I had very few. I didn't have magazines like you were talking about magazines. I didn't have those on mine, and I was probably about 65%, full on my iPad 2 at a 32 gig. But when they came out with a better camera and the new iMovie features, my goal is to see if I can do more videos on my iPad instead of my laptop. And I think I'm anticipating filling that space with it. But I did this morning try to do a video, and exactly your point. All your iPad stands, they lean back.
That's right.
So I
Yep.
if you put it in the little stand here, I have a bigger stand, and they all lean back. So in order to use it for video, you're having to hold it. So the whole time, the video is kind of shaky. So that I think they now need to come out with a stand that is more upright. Maybe there is one just for video.
Now I did record. I played with this about 2 seconds, so I don't have my transitions in right. But if you can
It's
see that,
awesome. Oh, you already got one. Okay, that's yeah. You're in iMovie.
so you can
It's
see.
just so simple to move things around, add transitions, which they didn't have transitions on the iPad 2. They only had you could put your own photo in there. So
Yeah, so
now
I'm
there's a
running a
lot of
little
the features
video.
that you have on your laptop.
Yeah, I'm running a little
And
video of something we took when I was in Hawaii last time, and it actually was very easy to drag clips onto it. Pretty much do everything you need to do. It was
right.
fast. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to play with the new iMovie features. I'm doing an iPad. Donna Gilliland from Most Training
Yes.
and I are doing a webcast. I think it's the first. It's like April 4th, but it's all on using iMovie photo editing, or not photo editing, photo filters on your iPad
Mm-hmm.
and Keynote. So for the presenter or someone who wants to use it more creatively, we're doing a webcast on that, and I'm really excited. The iPad 3 has some new features for the iMovie. Now, most people will still be using their iPad 2. Don made a comment saying, I think I'm sticking with 2. Unless you know that you're going to be doing lots of photos and videos, those are the things I see as the big lure for some.
Well, there's another lure.
What's
It
that?
is a lot faster.
Okay.
It's about double the speed of your 2.
Were you
And the
waiting? Like, were
video.
you sitting there opening things and
Oh
waiting?
yeah, just everything. In
Really?
fact, the iPad 2, I believe this has a dual core, but it's twice as fast as the previous one, and it has a quad core video.
Right.
hard. So the video is literally more than twice as fast, probably about 4 times as fast as what we had before. And you can really tell when you play things like Netflix,
Right.
YouTube, anything that's video oriented, it is so smooth. It's more like having a miniature LED TV in your hands than it is just watching a device. It's a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
The camera is better. The 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 fonts, the readability of the fonts has way improved. So when you look at the iPad 3, you're going to notice that things are a lot cleaner as far as fonts go. They're
See,
just
and I
very
think my
sharp.
problem, I'm so blind anyway that I don't notice it.
Well, that's why I noticed it because I don't see as well, especially when it comes to reading small print. I can almost make it out without glasses. It's so clear, so sharp.
Yeah.
I've noticed a big difference.
That is good because yeah, I mean so far I said it feels and looks like my iPad 2.
It does.
Uh,
It does. In fact, I had the other one next to it. I was going, oh, which one's which?
yeah.
It's not extremely discernible. In that respect, I wish Apple would do something to differentiate it a little bit.
Did you get the same color?
I did. I got the
Yeah,
black.
me too.
I don't know. I don't like the white that much. It's okay.
It is funny. There's something about the white that makes it feel like it's smaller
It
because
looks like a
of
little toy.
yeah, it looks like a toy.
But some people love the
Although I
white.
end up putting a skin on mine, and so it doesn't really make that big of a difference. But um,
Did you already get a skin on yours?
not yet. I'm going to order one because they already have Skinit.com already has the skins designed for the iPad 3. So I'm going to go get one. And this time I'm going to put my name back on it. See, my first skin had at Gina Schreck, had my Twitter handle on the front and back. Not that, again, if somebody wanted to steal it, they couldn't peel that right off because it comes off real easy. But if someone found it and wanted to get it back to me, my other one had my name was nowhere on it. The second skin, nowhere was my name on it. So again, I got it engraved, and I'll do some things that
Well,
might
I
help
told
it.
you, my wife lost a $300 set of headphones, which she goes, do you have a set of headphones? Yeah, here, take mine. So they were like Shure 3C2 or whatever the model number was. They were really
Right.
good headphones. They're not noise canceling, and we were on a plane, and I had a noise canceling set, so I only brought those as just kind of an aside. She leaves them in the front seat, totally forgets them, and I wasn't watching her, so I didn't pay attention to it, and as a result, they were gone in about 5 minutes. We called within 15 minutes; it was gone. Just like you. It
Interesting.
doesn't take long. I think they go in so fast and they see something like that, it's like, hey, bounty. We've got some bounty here. So,
Yeah, that's
anyway.
not good. It's in Dawn is saying the challenge with the iPad is the weight. Definitely the weight with the iPad 1, from 1 to 2, there was a big difference.
Yeah, there's not any discernible weight difference on
I
this one.
couldn't tell any difference between 2 and 3.
It is 1 millimeter thicker.
Right.
And I'm assuming that's probably at the middle of it because if you touch it from here, it does not feel like a millimeter thicker.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And it may be, but I'm assuming more it's maybe it's in the curve. Actually, it doesn't hump either, so maybe it is just 1 millimeter thicker. But 1 millimeter is not very much. It's a pretty small amount. It's like
Right.
it's like a 16th of an inch. So
Yeah.
it's pretty small.
Again, I feel like it's like the iPad 2 with some robust apps and features for move. I think what has happened, it's going from a consumption device, which iPad 1 was definitely just to consume content, read magazines, to iPad 2, you could take some pictures, they weren't great, you could do some videos, to now iPad 3 really is turning into a device where you can create content. And I'm excited because I found in the last few months I am able to go longer away from my iPad and computers and do more on my iPad. I mean, I've done Skype phone calls in my car while I'm sitting in a parking lot. I did pull over because I was able to attend. So I found like, wow, I didn't have to have my laptop with me. I've done maybe 2 videos on my iPad 2 where I created the video and edited on iMovie, and really it was more to test what could be done on there. So I'm excited with this one to do more creation of content using my iPad.
Now, I'll tell you, as a consumption device, I'm going to show you real quickly. This is Zinio.
Oh yeah.
Zinio is a magazine publisher, if you will, or distributor. They aggregate a lot of different magazines. Now, if I don't know if you can tell here how sharp that looks. Magazines look way better on Zinio than they do in real life. If you hold a magazine and you look at it here, the
Right.
sharpness of the colors, if I move the screen, you can see that things are pretty sharp on the screens. The picture quality is really good, but it's amazing that the scanning. And on this version, it looks a lot sharper than it did on the
On the
previous
other.
one. And that, by the way, you asked me earlier what caused so much of my space usage. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of these magazines are about 400 or 500 megabytes, and
I
I
was
probably had about 40
surprised at the
magazines.
size of some of these apps that we have. I mean, 300 and 400 megabytes
It's a
for an
lot.
app
Well, it's not an
or a
app.
magazine.
That's the magazine.
Well, the Zinio doesn't isn't a big app, is it?
No, the app isn't
No.
itself isn't that big, but it is a
Yeah,
very big magazine.
each
I mean, the
magazine.
magazines, because of the beautiful scanning that they've
Right.
done, they're pretty large. But boy,
Yeah.
it's worth it. And you can delete them off. It's just that I tended to have a lot on because I never get to them half the time, and
Right.
so yeah, yeah, I
Because
went.
I did notice some of the apps as I was transferring over, which that was another thing that kind of came to my attention when I was setting up my new iPad. I connected it and downloaded everything off of my iPad 2. Fortunately, it had been backed up, cloud backup every day, so I had everything on there, and it just transferred over. But right away, I was notified that my iCloud storage was full.
Hmm.
So I need to go in and make some adjustments to what I'm actually backing up because I
Right.
don't need to back up every single app in iCloud. Um,
No, and by
but
the way, if you are going to get an iPad 3 or any iPad, the best way to restore your old iPad is go into iTunes. Don't do it via iCloud. It's going to be slower.
slower,
It'll take
right?
you 2 to 4 hours, if not longer. Go into iTunes with your old iPad first. Make sure that it's connected to iTunes, and then
Right. Sync.
it does an automatic sync and backup.
Yep.
Back the whole thing up. That can take anywhere from a couple minutes to about an hour, depending on how much you have on there. And then get your new iPad and restore from the backup you just did. And you will get
Right.
everything. However, just be warned, not all of the programs will install. They'll be there and you don't have to rebuy them, but for some odd reason, they don't all copy back over. And it's not a
You're
big
right.
deal. It's just something you have to be aware of, that you have to
A lot of
manually
them. I had about
reinstall.
60 that did not
Really, that many?
load.
I haven't gone through all the ones yet. I think that I haven't. I think I've reinstalled about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And some of the content goes away. Like the Zinio content, I had to reload a lot of magazines. They were all
Oh,
gone.
that's interesting.
Videos were, most of the videos were there. But it does not get everything. So you just have to be careful that you're just going to have to do a little bit of restoring to get things to work. However,
Right.
once you do that, it all works just like the old one, and then you can't tell them apart.
Yeah, mine. I mean, I was like the next morning. I did that all overnight, and the next morning I turned it on. It was like I had my old one. Someone asked me this week about cloud storage for photos, and obviously, if you have an iPad or iPhone, you can store a lot of your stuff in iCloud, and you get five. I think it's 5 gigabytes
Yeah,
for
which isn't
free.
a lot when you start talking big
It's
pictures.
not. So even though Dropbox, you're only given 2 gigabytes when you start. Um, if I mean, I'm always getting clients to load Dropbox so that we can share folders. So I have a lot of additional. I think I have right now maybe 8 gigabytes of free storage through Dropbox, and I
You, you,
we have so many photos stored in
well,
Dropbox.
I think for about 100 a year, because we use this, you can do 40 gigabytes on Dropbox. And we do. We have a lot. We do the
Wow.
same thing. A lot of customers. We don't use FTP as much like we used to. Now we use Dropbox, which
Right.
has its issues, but for the most part, it works pretty well.
Yeah, we've loved Dropbox. So I just still think that's one of the greatest apps and sites out there is Dropbox. And
But make sure you
I
do one thing. If you're working with a lot of people, make your files read only. Because what happens otherwise, and this happened to us, we did a seminar and we put all of the content from the seminar and trials and everything else into a Dropbox, sent it out to
right,
20 something people, 30 people. and one of them
And people
deleted
were
it.
opening it and making changes?
No, one of them deleted all the files because they thought it was their Dropbox, which it was. That's the problem with Dropbox. So, anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
that's
it
funny.
saves it. I mean, you can undelete it, but it's extra work.
Yeah. Well, I'm going back to the iPad. If anyone is new, if you've gotten a new iPad, um, one of the things that I tell people to find, make time to go into your settings, spend some time in those settings customizing things. You can even, especially if you have kids, you can set it so that it requires a password to download apps so that kids aren't just going crazy downloading apps. You want to make sure you have a password set on there before even you order an app because, again, you can go crazy. And if you have teenagers or kids in the house that are small, they can just press buttons and download. So I say spend some time in there. You can even set controls on videos that can be watched on your iPad, so you can have PG-13 or whatever. I'm always the mean parent club, so I always say you can't have anything, even though none of our kids are under 13. It's PG-13. But you spend some time in those settings. There's a lot that you can do on your iPad as far as customizing it for how you will use it. I don't know if you've already done that, Rick. Do you
No,
spend
nobody.
time? I mean, is yours customized or is it just kind of as
No,
is?
it's as is right now.
Um,
Nobody touches my iPad.
Nobody does. I wish that was the case. Everybody touches my iPad. Everybody is playing with my iPad. But you can also in your settings, which I think is a cool thing in the general settings, you can actually go in and see. It shows you just a snapshot of how many songs are loaded on your iPad, how many photos do you have, how many apps do you have. All of that is in your general settings, and you can kind of just take a quick look when you start running out of storage. It kind of shows you a little percentage, that bar graph. But if you go in your general settings, you'll also see that there. So
Now
that's
there
kind of a
now
cool
there is
feature.
something that is coming out. These are new games. And the new games will take full advantage of the video card and they look
Yeah,
beautiful. It's like
yeah,
they look nicer than PS3 games or something like that or well, not necessarily. They look different.
right.
Probably more like the portable games, but the quality of the video on some of these new ones and the physics that they're using is pretty amazing. So that's coming. There's a flight one coming really soon, some sort of jet game, and there's a whole mess of other ones
Well,
being
Infinity
planned.
Blade's the big one that everybody always talks about because it looks so great. If anybody's been in Second Life, Larry and some of you in Second Life, and Don, Infinity Blade reminds me a lot of Second Life. The graphics in there is so
Well, they
great.
just came out with a brand new HD, if you will. It's a brand new Retina screen enabled one, and they said the graphics are even way better than the original one.
It's just such a violent game. It's like, where's the shopping? See, in Second Life, you can go shopping for clothes for your avatar.
In fact, the
Infinity
whole
Blade, you're
goal
just
of
chopping
in
people up.
fact in Infinity Blade, the whole goal is to kill anyone on Pinterest.
I know. I'm going. Okay, I'm not an Infinity Blade
Hey, I looked at
fan.
Pinterest the other day. Speaking of Pinterest,
Oh,
and I just did a quick look, and I just kind of went, okay, well, that was interesting. I couldn't get into it. It was sort of like, okay, do I care?
I know.
Uh,
It is funny. You do have to have a purpose, or just you want to sit there and relax.
It's not
And
a place
see,
to
I knew,
surf.
Larry, didn't I tell you, we cannot go a show without the P word.
I know in this case, I was to blame.
I can't believe it. I can't believe you brought that up. Okay, so here's another question that I got via Twitter about our show today is how do you share music that you might have on your computer in your iTunes library? Many of us have, hundreds of songs that we've collected over the years on our computers. And now with iCloud, everyone says you download a song on your computer and you can listen to it on your iPad.
Right.
Well, to share your music library, you have to be, which is kind of an interesting thing, you have to be in the same house or location sharing the same Wi Fi network.
Right. You can't share it with people because if you did, you'd have to give them your credit card number and everything else and your
Right,
passwords. You use AirPlay
right,
on Apple, and that allows you to share it across the devices that
right.
have iTunes on them or any kind of Apple device. Now, you can be remote and pull any songs or videos you have from iCloud. So,
True.
for example, it saves everything you've ever purchased. And then you can go in, and this actually works really well. You can just look up whatever song you want or album you want and just say download. And it
Yeah.
downloads it on the fly and plays it. It does download it first, it doesn't play it,
Right.
but
But
it's
it's not
still.
like you're just accessing. If I'm in a hotel somewhere else, I can't just open up iTunes and my whole library from home is here
It is there, except you have to download what you
one
need.
at a time. Yeah.
And
So
that's actually really nice because you couldn't do that a year ago.
I know it is. I love the feature, and I love the fact that I can be outside or I can be somewhere and open up my iPad and just, I'm on a shared Wi-Fi network and I can play straight from the playlist. And as long as you're on the same
Now,
Wi-Fi network, yes, you can see and play all the songs
now,
without
Gina, do you
downloading
have
them.
a MiFi or something like that? One of the portable routers, if you will, or just broadband access?
Right?
Do you have one of those?
Well, I use my
Oh,
phone
your
for
phone can tether, so you can do that with your phone.
right.
Okay, we have the MiFi because well, on my iPhones don't tether, and
That's right.
my wife can tether her phone, though I don't think she's tried that. She's got the.
Wait, iPhones can tether?
I thought they don't.
No, Kirk will turn on his tether. I've used his, and he has an iPhone.
Oh, you know what? I probably just never tethered it. Okay.
But you have to pay for it.
Oh,
It's
maybe
not
that's why
free
I've never
tethering.
tethered. I've never tethered the iPhone because we have that MiFi. And
Right.
that just allows you to have your own portable Wi-Fi wherever you are, and it works really well.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember when we were in Hawaii last year, that's where we got it. We got it at the Verizon store over there, and it gives you, I think they give you 5 gigabytes a month, of which we consume 8 in 3 days. And I went,
Wow.
holy smoke. Because I
Yeah.
was busy in the hotel room downloading 30 magazines at 500 meg.
Yeah. Or
It
if you
was,
watch one video, if you're
yeah,
watching YouTube videos, you're consuming
yeah,
time.
it is
You're
amazing how
blowing
much,
through it.
and it's how fast you'll go through it. And
Um, Here's another cool iPad tip that and this works on any iPad, as I believe it's as long as you've upgraded to 5.0, notifications. So you might have new emails come in, and you will want to go into your settings and select what notifications do you want to receive. Maybe it's email, maybe it's Facebook messages, maybe it's Twitter. You decide which of your apps that push out notifications do you want to receive. But what's cool is I don't have to go into each app to see the notifications. On your iPad, the tiny little border at the top, if you drag your finger from the top down, it brings up all your notifications that you currently have.
which was copied from Android.
Yeah, it was. So that's kind of a funny
Though I don't
thing.
think they
So,
did it as well.
but that's a helpful, when you're on the go and you just want to do a quick, is there anything that needs my attention? Pull that down and you can see your notifications. And then,
Now, I think Android actually implemented that better than what they did with iOS. It just seems cleaner
yeah,
because they have different areas for updates and everything else. It's a little more functional.
right.
Maybe
Yeah.
it'll get that way later on.
So I think there's so many iPad tips. Have you created your own app buttons for websites that you frequently visit?
Actually, no. In fact, I never even tried doing that.
Yeah, and this was one that, Facebook, I hate all the Facebook apps that are out there on mobile because it's really more for just personal checking your messages. But for managing pages, it just never works. So on iPad, I always would go to the website through Safari. So I would go to Safari and then log into Facebook and check things that way. Well, if there's a website, maybe it's your own website, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's whatever it is that you go to quite often, you can go up and it's just like adding a bookmark. I call it a box, and it has the little arrow. It looks like a little back arrow, but it's how you bookmark things. You click on that, and it says add a bookmark. Add to home screen. That's what you want to do. You click add to home screen and it creates a button, and you can name it whatever you want. And then when you look at your home screen, so this button on mine it looks like a Facebook button, and it says Getting Geeky. So I can go to my Facebook
Okay.
page, my business page, with one touch of a button there instead of having to find it on Safari. That I think was a really big time-saving tip that I learned maybe 6 months ago on my second iPad. So that's a helpful.
Now, how do you? Here's a trick question for you. Let's say you have an icon on the third screen and you want to move it to the first. What's the quickest way to get it into the first screen?
To go from, like, if I have an app on this screen
Right.
and I want to move it to the first screen, the only thing I know now, maybe you know this trick, another trick, I hold it until they jiggle and then drag it.
Right. Now, here's a quicker one.
Oh.
Hold it till it jiggles and then drag it to the bar at the bottom.
Well, see, my bar is already full.
Oh, okay. If it's not full, you always leave one open for that kind of drag. And
That's
then you go to whatever
interesting.
screen you want and undrag it and put it on that screen.
And then go. Oh, that's
It's a little
interesting.
quicker than having to drag, especially if you're 10 screens down, which is a real pain.
It is. That is interesting because I have 6 things. You can only dock 6 at the
Right,
bottom.
right. So I leave mine to about 5, and I always leave one open, if not 4 or 5. That way you can always move things quickly wherever you need them.
You know, it's funny that, you know what I need to get rid of? My calendar there, because I don't use that calendar. I use Google Calendar, which I created the app button.
Yeah, I think I'm getting rid of my photos there. You don't really, do you need photos at every moment? Probably not.
Well, here's what I did. My camera button, I made sure my camera button was where my thumb could reach it easy.
That makes sense because it's hard to get to your camera when you.
Yeah.
Usually
like
when
your camera's up and you're trying to. Yeah. So that was one of the things right away.
Right when you need a good shot, you go, "Where's my button?"
I know. And by the way, for those of you who are maybe you have small kids or you're in the habit of wanting to hurry up and take a video or a photo of something, but you just can't get your app open fast enough. There is that app called Swift, 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 and as soon as you click on the app, it is recording video. There's no open the app and then start the video.
Now, you notice when you did that record, it shows the whole screen as one video. That's pretty nice.
Yeah,
you couldn't do that before.
Cool. So it's recording that, and then you just stop the video. But that is a helpful. I love that app for that reason. Is sometimes you see something, you're like, oh my gosh! By the time you find your camera, open it, switch it to video, push record. You've missed the shot. Swift is a quick record. Yeah.
All right. Well, Gina, guess
what?
what?
Anyone else have any apps or questions? Let's see. Folders. Yep. John's got that.
Folders.
Awesome.
All sorts of good stuff.
Make sure you lock up those iPads and those iPhones and those Android phones.
Yeah, you don't want to lose it.
Learn from my pain.
And you don't want to lose this one. It's expensive.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching us. And we will see you next week on SchreckTeck.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Gina. You have a good one.
You too.